And before we start our meeting, to I would like everyone to place ourselves in the presence of the Lord for our invocation. Our Father, we thank you for giving us another day to breathe, to eat, to work, and to give you praise. We had been in quarantine for almost a month, and I know that a lot of hearts are restless because of the pandemic. Tonight, I want to pray not only for our group, but also for the whole Philippines and the whole world. May you please guide us, support us in the coming days until everything has settled down. I pray that you strength I pray that you strengthen those who are weak, calm down those who are weary, and give hope to those who are in despair. This we ask through your Son Jesus Christ. Amen.
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 So our meeting for tonight, which our meeting for tonight the theme is Time's Up. So our Toastmaster for the evening is none other than our Vice President for Membership, Toastmaster Ryan De Guzman.
It's Ryan De Jesus, Madam
Oh my
President.
God, I'm so sorry, Ryan De Jesus. I'm sorry. I'm sorry. Ryan
Anyway,
Toastmaster Ryan De Jesus.
thank you, Toastmaster Jamie Peña, for your wonderful introduction. And to formally start the program, who will be? I'm sorry, Press Jamie, who will lead our Toastmasters promise for tonight? I missed that
Uh,
part. I'm sorry.
I think we have omitted the Toastmaster
All right.
promise.
All right. So
That's
let's
so
proceed.
and I already started it.
All right. So good evening, fellow Toastmasters and guests. We have one guest for tonight. I have two guests for tonight. Mr. Dennis De Lira and Mr. Christian Rante.
Yes, good evening.
Yeah.
Good evening.
Yeah.
So good evening once again, fellow Toastmasters and guests. I will be your Toastmaster of the evening. I am Toastmaster Ryan De Jesus. The Toastmaster of the evening is the master of the ceremony. Before I proceed to the program, I would like to introduce to you other role takers and evaluators for this evening. This will give our guests an idea on how the Toastmasters meeting works. As I call your name, please wave to the camera so everyone can see who you are. I suggest everyone to put your view settings to grid or gallery view so you can see all the members present in our meeting. Our general evaluator for this evening is Past Division Governor Toastmaster Dottie Du. Say hi to the camera, Toastmaster Dottie. Yes.
Right.
For our for our table topics evaluator, Toastmaster John Francisco, our ever smiling Toastmaster General Evaluator. Our grammarian for tonight is Sir Mar. Is Mar online? Toastmaster Jamie, is Toastmaster Mar online?
Toastmaster Mar is
I think
online,
he's
but
asking for the link.
he's asking for the Zoom link.
All right.
I'll provide it to him at the group chat.
All right. I think he's well aware that he will be our grammarian for tonight. And to monitor filler words, long pauses, us, and our counter, Miss Juliet. Toastmaster Juliet, hello, say hi to the camera.
Hello, good evening, everyone.
All right. So as we proceed, be aware for the green, yellow, and red card that she will show as we deliver our speech, for she will be our timekeeper, Toastmaster Rose. Toastmaster Rose, yes, hi. And to check the allotted time for every speaking opportunity, kindly check the program so that all of us will be aware on how much time will be given for every opportunity that we will have to speak. Tonight's theme is Time's Up. Learn and relearn productive time management. Commonly, we hear this word in school, in exams, or quiz bees. Time's up is synonymous to deadlines, cut off, ended, over, or terminated. Time is the essence of time, but time is relative. It feels like time is fast whenever you are enjoying and having the time of your life. But sometimes it feels slow and steady whenever we are experiencing troubles and problems. Nevertheless, keep in mind that whenever we are in a Toastmasters meeting, we are not spending our time. Rather, we are investing it. Investing our time to learn, investing our time to gain experience, investing our time to leadership. Whenever we attend a Toastmasters meeting, we add value to ourselves, thus adding value to our time. To be productive nowadays is indeed a challenge to all of us. Do you agree?
Yes.
Especially we are all locked up
Productive.
in our houses, and the government sees us to produce anything. But as a Toastmasters member, we were taught on how to scale walls of problems and create opportunity amidst all the crisis. By maximizing the technology, I believe each of us has a story to share on how to turn this deadbeat situation into something wonderful, magical, or worthwhile. Our sparkle question for the evening: how do you differentiate being busy and productive? Be ready to answer our sparkle question for this evening, for you might be called to deliver your thoughts about this matter. And now, fellow Toastmaster, to keep the ball rolling, let me introduce to you the next part of our program. Before I proceed to the next part of our program, I just want everyone to be aware. It's in our program. I'm sorry. I just want everyone to be aware about our idioms of the night. Our idioms of the night is beat the clock, meaning to finish something very quickly, especially before a particular time. For example, she managed to beat the clock and pass her project to her professor on time. So we are looking forward that our fellow Toastmasters will use our idiom of the night. And we also have a figure of speech challenge by using simile. So you can refer to our program to check our figure speech challenge for tonight. All right, as we proceed with our program, fellow Toastmasters, all right. Okay. And our table topics, also known as impromptu speaking, to be led by no other than our very own best-selling author, motivational speaker, and my coach, Toastmaster Mark Wilson Edrada.
Hi. Good evening, fellow Toastmasters. This is Mark, and I am your table topics master for tonight. Now, I'll be sharing a screen. Can you see it? Can you already see the screen?
Not yet.
Not yet.
Not yet.
Not yet.
Fine.
Yes, not yet.
Okay.
Hindi naman ako naririnig eh.
Can you see it already?
Yep.
All right. Now, for the benefit of our guests, table topics is a portion in Toastmasters that gives speakers the way or the avenue to think on their feet. This is the impromptu speaking part of Toastmasters meeting. So in Toastmasters, we have different speech patterns that we may use. One is the prep, the position, reason, example, and position. You may use this speech pattern in delivering your arguments or debates. Next speech pattern is the IDA, meaning the attention, interest, desire, and action. You can use this speech pattern where you are persuading a person. There is also story, message, and gain for storytelling. Also, there is past, present, and future, comparison, contrast, and the likes. Now, on the screen, there is a table topics board. And the table topics board is divided into 4 categories. And they are interpret the image, disprove the statement, create a story, and answer the question. Are you ready, fellow Toastmasters?
Yes.
Yes.
Ready?
Is Area Director Armel here?
Yep.
Armel?
Yes, I'm here, Mark.
Yeah. Can you please select a category?
Interpret the image.
Okay. Interpret the image. In interpret the image, you will be interpreting the image that I will be showing you. So, table topics board, let's reveal, interpret the image. This is Salvador Dali's painting in oil on canvas. He painted this in 1931, and it is entitled The Presence of Memory. Salvador Dali's painting, oil on canvas in 1931, The Persistence of Memory. Let me call to interpret the image. Past. International Director Elisa Tai. Is past International Director Elisa here?
Yes, I'm here.
Yes. May we request you to interpret the image, The Persistence of Memory.
Good evening, fellow Toastmasters.
Good evening.
Oftentimes I hear people say, my mom's fried chicken is still the best. My mom's kare-kare is still the best. Because when we talk of something, it's a special memory within us. So when we talk of memories, it's a strong impulse within each person. So whatever happens, that memory creates a lingering feeling within us. So even if we encounter somebody who does something better, we still go back to the memories of what we had. So oftentimes we have to compete with memories. So Salvador Dali in this painting states the persistence of memory, and it's true. It lingers with us all throughout our lives. We might try to create new ones, but in the end, we still look back, realizing that what we had before is something that is part of us. And when we realize that, it is then that we can move on using the persistence of that memory to create a new life. Good evening.
Thank you for that wonderful statement, past International Director Elisa Tai. And yes, really, we compete with our memory because we all have memories. And our memory is the best photo album. Thank you for that, past International Director. And I know past International Director Elisa and past District Governor Dotidu are painters there in Davao. Right? You can
Yes.
see your paintings in on Facebook. So that's why I called you to explain this kind of painting. All right. Thank you for that, Past International Director Elisa Tai. Let's go back to the categories. May you please select a category, Past International Director Elisa? Is it disprove the statement, create a story, or answer the question? Past International Director, can you please select a category?
I'd like to disprove the statement.
Okay. Thank you for that, Past International Director Elisa. Disprove the statement. You have to negate the statement that I will be showing you. And the statement that you will be negating will be time is gold. And now, I would like to call here on this line our present President, Jamie Peña. Time is gold. President Jamie Peña there?
Yes. Good evening, fellow Toastmasters.
Good evening.
Evening.
Rather than saying time is gold or giving value to time, I would like to think that time is um, mm, wala. What? Oops. Oh. Can I make a pass? Because I can't really think of
All
anything.
right. It's okay.
Sorry.
Okay. Okay. To, to disprove the statement, I would like to call the present Vice President for Education, Sedi Cortez.
Good evening, fellow Toastmasters and friends.
Good
I
Evening.
evening.
believe time is as precious as diamond because somehow time is something that we used to take for granted, but we never realized that time is very important. Just like when I was a child, I remembered I used to I used to not to sleep during the afternoon. And if there was a time that I needed to go back in the past, and that is somehow to sleep in the afternoon, which I took for granted because right now, I guess that is true. I needed so much sleep. Well, as an adult, I used to work, but now I used to work and I sometimes lack sleep. So for me, that is some that is something I could say that time is as precious as diamond because we always took that for granted. And I guess we should give more importance in time. Thank you.
All right. Thank you for that statement, Vice President for Education, Sedi Cortez. And now, can you please select a category? Is it create a story or answer the question? Sedi?
Answer the question.
Answer the question. You'll be answering the question. So whoever is the table topic speaker for this category. You'll be answering a question. And for the benefit of our guests, the time allotted for a speaker to speak from an impromptu speech topic is 1 to 2 minutes. And we are live on YouTube right now. We are on YouTube live. And to answer the question is, let's reveal. If there is one lesson on time management that you want to share with us, what will it be? If there is one lesson on time management that you want to share with us, what will it be? I would like to call the future Area 63 Director, Rose Pagia.
Time management. Where do you usually use time management? When you hear it, management, you think of school, you think of work. But for me, I'm always here at home because I'm a work at home mom already for the past 10 years. And time management for me, the most important thing that I have learned, especially when we got our own house already, is that don't be too hard on yourself. Just finish one task, one important task for the day, one big task, and then you can continue with everything else. Or you can, if you have the time to spare, you can do the other tasks that you have for the day. So, of course, cooking your meals every day, that's number one, that's a given, that's a priority. But if you have laundry day, so if you have finished your laundry for the day, you can do the other projects that you have, like your Toastmasters for the evening, or if you're going to make your speech for the evening. I am not timing myself, Mark, sorry. I just realized that I'm also the timer for tonight.
It's
So
okay.
that is an example of time management as well. So the most important time management lesson that I can share with you is that prioritize and do that one thing for that one day, and that you'll feel more confident in achieving all the other little things that you will do for the rest of the day. Good evening.
Thank you for that statement, Future Area Director Rose Pagia. And yes, we have to manage our time. Toastmasters is an avenue or an organization that practices every one of us to manage time, because we have to know our time. We should start on time and finish on time, and that's why we have time in every activity that we are doing here on Toastmasters. And during this quarantine period, it's the best time for us to practice time management. We are doing work at home and other household chores. So we are striving to manage our time while at home. And now for the last category, create a story. You have to create a story out of the topic that I will be showing you. And to create a story, here is the topic, or here's the title of the story. You have to create a story out of this title. And the title of the story is Time's Up. All right, the title of the story, Time's Up. You have to create your own story for 1 to 2 minutes. The title is Time's Up. I would like to hear from our past Division G Director, Mark Castillo.
Good evening, everyone. Can you hear me?
Yes. Good evening.
Can you
Evening.
hear me?
Yes.
Yes. Time's up. My time's up. I always remember this story of mine at work in one of the projects that I've been assigned to. It's about creating a certain policy about uh, handling photo shoot reservations. And the particular project is uh, tagged as an urgent project because we have to beat the deadline and uh, gather more bookings as much as possible for us to have this uh, target budget for this project. So I was pressed to study many aspects of the policy. For instance, how the guest will be able to dispute if there are errors in the process of the bookings, and so on and so forth. But I always think in the process that, you know, when we do things, we always have to be persistent and have the presence of mind in everything that we do. And in this particular story, I was not rather I don't have the uh, opportunity to be rattled or to think impulsively on certain policies. But I always tell myself to have this uh, clear mind perspective so that I could think more efficiently and use all available resources at hand. So at the end of the day, I was able to finish the task. I was able to provide an efficient output that the management approved. And yeah, at the end of the line, it's just all about yourself. So that don't be pressured about what you're doing. Instead, focus on what the task you have at hand and the resources that you can pull out from amidst the opportunity that you have. Good evening.
All right, thank you for that wonderful story, past Division G Director Mark Castillo, and he shared his story on a corporate perspective. And we all have time. We have to manage our time. We have to handle our time wisely because time is of the essence. Yes, time is gold. It's also precious. Time is money, as what others say, because time is important. When you let go of time, it will never come back. Now, I think my time as table topics master is ended. Now I turn the control back to our Toastmaster of the evening, Toastmaster Rai De Jesus.
Thank you, Toastmaster Mark, for that wonderful topics. And thank you also to all our participants for tonight. Thank you for your wonderful inputs with regards to our toast with our table topics. The next part of our program is our prepared speech. We have two prepared speakers for tonight, the Toastmasters and guests. And now I will now introduce our first speaker. Our first speaker for tonight will deliver her speech project level 2 under the leadership development path. The purpose of her project is to present a speech on any topic, receive feedback, and apply the feedback to a second speech. The title of her speech, very timely, Disinfect to Protect. The allotted time for this speech is 5 to 7 minutes. Her speech will be evaluated by Toastmaster Armel Gutierrez. Yes, fellow Toastmasters, our first speaker for tonight, let's give a round of applause to Toastmaster. Toastmaster, yes. The floor is yours.
Yes, I will start now my speech. Good evening. Disinfect. How observe that we have a new deadly weapon. We can see security guards using this spray, spraying it into our two hands when we enter any establishment. And may I remind everybody that what I have noticed to be trending now is no spray, no entry. Good evening, fellow Toastmasters, guests, and friends. The deadly weapon is called disinfectant. It is deadly because various bacteria and are including COVID-19 virus are killed by this disinfectant. The COVID-19 pandemic is doing a lot to us. Disinfectants, alcohol, and the likes are running out in the supermarket, groceries, and drugstores. Plus, the prices of these disinfectants are going up and up. And I know that a lot of you or everybody have their own alcohol in their home. And I think you have now yours beside you. Can I see them? To fight COVID-19, it is recommended to start with soap and water. It is recommended that we wash our hands at least 20 seconds with soap and water, or we have to sing happy birthday twice. Happy birthday to you. Happy birthday to you. We have to sing it twice. And with that, I would like to dedicate that birthday song to our Vice President for Education, Toastmaster Sedi. Fight COVID-19, the major method of transmission is said to be from person to person. Have you been paranoid nowadays that whenever there is someone who will sneeze or who will cough beside you, you think that he is already a COVID positive patient? The virus may also be spread when you touch an infected material. So it is said that in plastic, it can live here within 72 hours. So for cardboard, it can last or can live here within 24 hours. And for stainless, it can live here within 48 hours. So I suggest that we use this disinfectant so that whenever we touch this material, we will not touch or we will not have COVID-19. So there are various types of disinfectant in the market. I will discuss to you the three popular ones. Number one is alcohol. It refers to two soluble chemical compounds. Number one is ethyl alcohol, and the other one is isopropyl alcohol. These are actually the 70% rubbing alcohol, which is more effective. It is actually composed of the pure alcohol, which is 70%, and we have the distilled water, which is 30%, and a small quantity which is added so that our hands will not dry when we rub it with alcohol. So that is glycerol. So why do we add water? Because water is required to open up the membrane in the coronavirus so that it will the virus will the water will act as a gateway for the alcohol to come in contact with the virus, and then it will kill the virus. And then the next one, the alcohol should not be consumed internally. Why? Because these are toxic in nature. So if ever we did not die because of the virus, maybe we will die because of the disinfectant if ever we will drink the alcohol. The next disinfectant that I will discuss with you is the hypochlorite. So this is one of the popular brand in the market. We can add or we can use 1 part of this to 10 parts or 9 parts of water. So with this solution, you could already use this on different surfaces so that the COVID-19 will be killed. But may I remind everybody that if we are to use this disinfectant, we have not to mix it with any other chemicals or any other acid because this is a strong base. So if we are to mix this with other chemicals, there will be a reaction. Lastly, we have the hydrogen peroxide. So this already can be directly used in our surfaces, just like the alcohol. So fellow Toastmasters, guests and friends, we can win our fight with COVID-19 virus. We have to use this disinfectant for us to kill the COVID-19 virus, and we have to follow the government recommendation. We lost a number of our fellow Filipinos. We have to stop this. We should be together in fighting COVID-19 by using our disinfectant. Mr. Toastmaster.
Thank you, Toastmaster Tess, for that wonderful speech. I think it's really timely, especially now that we are experiencing this COVID-19 pandemic. And we are really happy to have you around as our resident chemist to educate us with regards to different cleaning solutions. And let us now proceed to our next speaker for tonight. Our next speaker for tonight need no further introduction, for his name is synonymous to our club itself. But for the benefit of our guest for tonight, our next speaker's speech project is level 5 of effective coaching path. The purpose of his project is to reflect on your growth during the completion of an entire path. The title of his speech is Sleeping with the Wind. The time allotted for his speech is 10 to 12 minutes. Ladies and gentlemen, guests, fellow Toastmasters, let's give our loudest cheer to Toastmaster Dan Napalinga.
Thank you, Rai. My family name is pronounced Napalinga. Fellow Toastmasters and friends, good evening.
Good evening.
Good evening.
Good evening.
Evening.
Yes, thank you for the nice introduction. I have shortened my speech tonight because you gave me a very good introduction. You gave me an opening that what we have right now is basically what you may call uncertainty. And many of us fear the aspects of uncertainty. Fear is very good to mankind because, one, it makes us aware of our environment, and second, it gives us the chance to make mankind exist for a long time. Without fear, then therefore, we are not able to have that action and reaction, whether it's physical or whether it's emotional action. Fear basically is a very good tool that we use in humankind. The pandemic right now is making us strong, because if we are familiar with uncertainty, with something which we fear, then we feel strong about fighting it, strong about avoiding it, and feel about testing it. Many of our doctors have tested it. Many of our countrymen have tested it. They all died. Right now, the statistic shows that we have about 3,700 positive patients. It's a very fearful situation. But tonight, let me guide you inside a cave which can give you almost everything that you need in life. And that cave is what I call the Toastmasters cave. But before I lead you into that cave, let me give you a very good saying that a Roman emperor once said. It is not the fear of death that we should fear, but it is the fear of not living our life. True enough. My next question to you is, when was the last time you asked yourself, why are you here in a Toastmasters meeting? I know it's difficult for you to answer that question because it is something that you might want to avoid. In the first place, entering the cave of Toastmasters creates fear, uncertainty, and perhaps death because you don't know the end of the tunnel. But remember, I said that that tunnel can give you anything that you want in life. Your purpose in joining Toastmasters, basically, you may want to improve your communication skills. Is it your shyness? Is it your fear? Is it working to have a raise? Not at this point of time. We will have a recession. Or is it working for your family? These are questions which we normally ask. And many of us are still grappling the inability to communicate effectively. It can destroy our careers. It can delay our promotions. It can affect our personal relationship. I'm guessing you'll also be lacking in motivation. Why? Because if you are living without a clear purpose, then you won't have anything to look forward to. That means that you don't have directions. You'll also be lacking in intention, a vital part of motivation. In other words, there'll be nothing for you to pursue and nothing for you to push. To feel motivated every day and to feel excited about your future in Toastmasters, you should find out what your purpose is. In Toastmasters, leaders are made. That is our brand name. To help us develop our skills, our latent powers, and encourage us to make the most of what we have to attain success. Do you know that Toastmasters provides us with 3 synergistic engines of motivation? If you have read your manuals, it is in the manual. First, for better listening, compassionate support, for better thinking, critical thinking, for better speaking, intense recognition. My dear friends, motivation number 1, or motivation engine number 1, for better listening. Many of us are familiar with Steve Jobs. He is a brilliant businessman. He made and started Apple computers. But Steve Jobs left Apple. And you know what the reason why he left Apple? He left Apple because he missed one of the motivation engine of Toastmasters: better listening. Steve Jobs can convince you. Steve Jobs can push you, but Steve Jobs never listens to you. It took Steve Jobs to leave Apple, hibernate for 12 years with another job, and realize that listening is a very important tool for success. He went back to Apple, and Apple started to make money again. The former CEO of Apple, John Scully, recognized the single motivational tool that Steve Jobs used: the art of listening. Motivation number 2, critical thinking. We use this in our evaluation portion of Toastmasters. We listen, we analyze, and we evaluate for positive response of the speaker. How we feel about ourselves and enjoy living ultimately depends upon how we filter in our mind and interpret everyday experience. That is critical thinking. A person can make himself happy or miserable regardless of what's happening outside. Take, for example, the COVID case now. Take, for example, the lockout. We are making ourselves happy with friends because of technology, but you can also make yourself sad. It's how you handle your mind and manage your mind, which is a discipline in itself. Motivation tool number 3. If you look at the old books and the old manuals of Toastmaster, our founder basically made a very good prediction and a very good advice to all of us that when we speak, boys, keep it simple. That is a remark always made by Ralph Smedley. Boys, keep it simple. Second, he always emphasized that Toastmaster is a do-it-yourself thing. You have to have discipline to be a good speaker. You have to have the passion to share what you have with others, and you should practice good leadership. Being an evaluator, you should be a good listener. If you are the educational vice president and you don't record the speech projects of your members, then you failed on leadership. Can you imagine a member preparing his or her speech for 2 weeks and not listened to, not evaluated with, and not reported in Toastmasters International? That is sacrilege. And that is a great injustice. How many of us complains that we are not being taken care of by our officers? That is beyond the thinking of Ralph Smedley. Because Ralph Smedley's third philosophy was, he believes that members of Toastmasters have the inherent capacity to improve themselves, to improve the God-given talent. For them to succeed, share them and share them to others. Toastmasters is a great organization. Many of us basically fear the communication practice, the communication skill, and we don't talk and communicate effectively with others, whether they are officers, whether they are our members, whether they are district or international officers. Communication is key to our success. And it reminded me of what Ralph Waldo Emerson once said. Do the things we fear, and death of fear is certain. When you don't communicate, you have fear. When you don't express yourself, you have fear. And when you don't discipline yourself to finish your speech project, then you have fear. Fellow Toastmasters and friends, I am on my 5th level. And I intend to continue what Ralph Smedley have advised us. If you have not or unsure of your life's purpose, then I suggest that you take a little time to think about it. Winners are people with definite purpose. Toastmaster gives you direction. Toastmaster gives you the chance to do critical thinking. And Toastmasters give you the chance to recognize, to listen to speakers. You are a success you've ever been. And our club could be the best club we've ever had. Good evening.
Thank you, Toastmaster Dan, for that wonderful speech. The prepared speakers for tonight indeed gave us a wonderful and timely insights. With the expertise of our speakers, they gave us they challenged us, not only as Toastmasters, but also to be a proactive member of our community. But our Toastmasters meeting will never be complete without our evaluation portion. And to give us her top to bottom evaluation, let's give a round of applause to our general evaluator for tonight and her team. Past Division Governor, Toastmaster Dottie Du.
Thank you. Thank you very much, Rai. Good evening, everybody.
Good evening.
Thank you very much for the invite. I was invited by Toastmaster Mark. Thank you for inviting us again. And it is indeed different when...
Governor, sorry.
It's okay. It's indeed different when we start attending meetings of another club, because I noticed that your meeting is also different from what we just had. Our meeting is also on Tuesdays evening, but our meeting today, we moved it to afternoon. That's why I was able to attend earlier. Now, your meeting this evening the topic is Time's Up. When I heard about the topic, the first thing that came to mind is, well, it brought me back to my school days. I can always hear my teacher whenever we have exams. She would say, time's up, and then we have to submit our papers. So it brought me back to my school days when I was still in school. And I think this is also something that we can also think of, especially since we are experiencing a very difficult, a challenging period of our time. Now, going back to the meeting, there are several things that I noticed that you do differently from what we do. First, I would like to congratulate and I would like to commend, and maybe we can also copy. When you started the meeting, I heard that you had an idiom of the night. That's very interesting, different, that maybe some of the clubs can also replicate. You also have, what was the other one? There was another one that you said that on top of having a word of the evening or things like that, you had this idiom.
Figure of speech.
Yes, that one. You also had that. So I think we can replicate that and we can bring that to our club also. So congratulations to those two things that you incorporated in your meeting, which made it quite interesting. You started on time, and since we have nothing else to do, I guess everybody who does online meetings starts on time. Now, when I got in, it was a little earlier than your usual time. And I would like to commend your Vice President for Education. When I came in, he was very quick. Toastmaster Sedi, where's Toastmaster Sedi? There you are. Toastmaster Sedi, you are very quick and PM me right away and assign me to become general evaluator. So, Madam President, you have a very good Vice President for Education. This evening, of course, being the evaluator, I am not alone. I have other evaluators with me. We can start with the table topics evaluation. We had a very interesting session. Now, to give us our table topics evaluation, let us welcome Toastmaster John Francisco. John, I think you are still on mute.
Okay.
There you go.
There you go. Okay. Good evening. I'm the table topics evaluator for tonight, and I will evaluate the four speakers, the four brave speakers. First is Ma'am Elisa. Ma'am Elisa, you have to interpret the image. The image was the painting of Salvador Dali, 1931, oil in canvas. You made us the image of the food that your mom is cooking. The fried chicken of my mom is the best. The kare-kare of my mom is the best. Well, everybody's mom is the best cook. So you gave us the persistence of your memory. All in all, it's very good that you somehow took us to your memory lane. But I would like to hear more that you interpret the image, although I can't interpret the image just because I think there are rugs scattered on the floor, on the painting. With that, congratulations and thank you for your speech on that. The next speaker is, what's the next speaker? Time is Gold by Sedi, yes, Sedi. And for Sedi, time is diamond. Okay? So, I think diamond is very rare than gold. Or it is much more expensive. Anyway, Sedi told us that everybody is taking for granted of their time. All the tambays, all the people, many people. But now, we are now taking for granted of our time to our families because we're all at home with our families. So due to the lockdown, we have so much time with our family at home. Before, we have no time for our family. We are not at home most of the time, but now we are all at home and time is diamond for Sedi. Congratulations, Sedi, for that. And the third speaker is for the answer the question. The question is time management. Toastmaster Armel. Okay? Oh no, I'm sorry, it's Rose. It's Rose.
Rose.
And then Rose is sharing her experience, multitasking, working mom. She works at home, but schedules her time very well, the cooking, the laundry, and everything, even Toastmasters time. And she's very good in multitasking. I remember last year when you had your oath taking, there's a guy who interpret time management with the glass and with the ping pong balls. Who remembers that? About time management. I hope you remember that guy.
I did. It's the
Okay?
biggest. It's the biggest. The ping pong balls and then M&Ms. Is that right?
Yes. Ping
Yes.
pong balls, the
Orange.
M&M, and the beer. Do you remember that guy? We shared time management. And congratulations, Rose, on that answer the question of what lesson have you learned from time management. I hope everybody's learning from time management on this lockdown. With that, congratulations, Miss Rose. The fourth one is time's up. So the speaker is create a story. Time's up. Who's the speaker?
Mark.
The speaker is Mark Castillo, yes. And he shares the task given a raise office, the corporate perspective. He shares the corporate perspective. He was given a deadline to make a policy. So he shares that you have to have a clear mind and make good of the resources available. And then he produced the effective output. No pressure, just focus. And when the time's up, he's okay with the task. Congratulations with that, Mark. All in all, congratulations to all the speakers and to the table topics master, Mark Adrada. Congratulations with that. You gave us very good topics. With that, congratulations to all the speakers and the table topics master. Congratulations. Back to you, Ma'am Dottie.
Thank you, Toastmaster John. Congratulations to all our reactors. I also would like to evaluate Toastmaster Mark when you brought us and ushered us into a different session of table topics. I know it's different, it's innovative, and the way you handled the the table topics session, it's very apt to what we are using, because what you did was you had slides, you also showed us you had four categories for us to choose from. It's different, it's interesting, and it's apt to what we are using, which is we are doing this online. And you also explained the session very well. The only thing that I would like to suggest is that when you did your slides, I cannot see the timer. What is interesting is that our timekeeper, Toastmaster Rose, was very innovative. At first, I thought you mistakenly pressed on your keyboard because I couldn't understand the G, the Y. And so I just thought it was a mistake. So maybe before we do the session, or maybe before we do everything else, there is like an orientation. Since this is different from what we do face to face, I think what Toastmaster Rose did was very innovative. Since our timekeeper is not pinned, that is also one thing that we can do. Once we have a timekeeper, we can just pin him or her so that that person will always be shown on screen, even if there's a slide coming up. And what Toastmaster Rose did was sending us chats of GY. Maybe we can do that also in our meeting. So congratulations, Toastmaster Mark, and to all the reactors. Round of applause. Now we are doing this evening a full evaluation, and this evening we have a grammarian. For the grammarian this evening, I would like to call Toastmaster Mar. Mar, you are still on mute. There you go.
Yes. Okay. Good evening. Thank you, Toastmasters Dottie. Okay. What can I say about our set of participants tonight? They have really reached a level by which practice has made it almost perfect. Why? Because finding the germs and the gems in this particular meeting is like finding the rare shaft from a field of good grains. So it's hard to find a chaff from the grains at this point. And of course, there is no outrageous grammatical error. What I mean is, there are two errors that I noticed, but it's very typical. Like it's an agreement of verbs and subject. Like there was one mistake. Various types of disinfectant. There is no S, but of course it's normal. And then the second error I found out is that uh, the next speaker is, it should be was, because it happened minutes ago. Otherwise, all things considered, there is almost no mistakes. Congratulations to all those who rendered their shares. Thank you. I return the floor to Toastmaster Dottie.
Thank you, Toastmaster Mar, for that grammarian's report. What is good about the meeting this evening is we have two speakers. Even if we are doing this online, we still have the two speakers, and they gave us their speeches to comply with their speech projects. First, we had a speaker, and to evaluate her, this is for speaker for Tess. To evaluate her, let us welcome the evaluator, Toastmaster Armel.
Thank you so much, and good evening, past Division Governor Dottie and fellow Toastmasters. Good evening. Tess,
Good evening.
no spray, no entry. That tagline of yours was so timely and so engaging nowadays because we have this pandemic. One highlight or two highlights that I could give to your speech was that you've got a very good impressive voice, and you also have your visual effects. This on In this online meeting, those two important factors in your speech were very important. Good commanding voice, you sounded so clear. It is with feelings, with clear diction and proper enunciation. You were also prepared with your visual aids. Now I know the difference between the ethyl and the isopropyl alcohol. Thank you for that. As your evaluator, I should add value to your speech delivery. I suggest that you should improve on your speech organization. A while ago, I noticed that you sang the song, that you washed your hands while singing the song Happy Birthday. And then you immediately inject about COVID-19. I suggest in your next speech delivery, while you are washing your hands, you could ask us as your audience on why we should sing happy birthday 2 times while we are washing our hands, and why we should go back to the teachings of our kindergarten teachers nowadays. It is because of this unusual pandemic, the invisible virus COVID. That is one suggestion that I could give you. Another point is that while you continuously giving us the different disinfectant, you also inject again some learnings about the COVID, I suggest improve on your speech delivery next time. To sum it up, Toastmaster test, congratulations. You are a very knowledgeable speaker because you are prepared. You've researched so much on this. You've got your effects with you. It is so complete. And like your other speech delivery, you are so prepared. And congratulations again. And I am looking forward to another inspiring and well researched speech coming from you. Back to you, General Evaluator.
Thank you, Toastmaster Armel. And I agree with the evaluation of Toastmaster Armel for the speech of Toastmaster Tess. She talked about our topics. The speakers this evening talked about fighting, and the other one was talking about the fear that we have. Now, to deliver the evaluation for our speaker, Dan, let us listen to the evaluation from Toastmaster SEDI. Toastmaster SEDI, I think you are still on mute.
Sorry. Good evening, fellow Toastmasters, and to our online quarantined friends. And hello to Toastmaster Dan Napalinga. Thank you for delivering that motivational speech. Toastmaster Dan Napalinga, I love the way how you use effective hand gestures. As we know, the, the speaking space is very limited since we are in an online meeting. That is why Toastmaster Dan made use of effective hand gestures by segmenting his own speaking space itself by putting his hand gestures to the left, to the right, and to the center. Also, I love the way how you are so enthusiastic when you were delivering your speech. There is so much enthusiasm that we are also engaged when you deliver your speech. And lastly, your speech has a purpose. The goal of a speech is to inspire, to motivate, and to inform. But you delivered a speech that inspires and motivates us. As I commend you on your speech delivery, I want to recommend some. Number one, personalization. You mentioned some of the famous personalities through your valuable words of wisdom. I would like to hear more of you since the purpose of your speech project is to reflect on your path. I would like to hear more of you, not as Steve Jobs, but as Toastmaster Dan Napalinga. And as Toastmaster Dan Napalinga, how does that path, that effective coaching path, influence you? Not as only as a servant, as a mentor, but as a Toastmaster. And with that, we will be inspired because that came from you, that speech delivery of yours. Second, I believe that a speech should like be a pyramid. I noticed that when you give some valuable words of wisdom, you gave some statements which I assume a conclusion, and then you went back again to some words of wisdom, and then you went back again to conclusion, which make your speech over time. So improve your speech organization by putting a introduction, then the body wherein you need to put a personalization, and then conclusion with personalization. All in all, Toastmaster Dan, you motivated us with your speech. Therefore, congratulations because you are a step closer to become an effective coaching proficient. Thank you and congratulations. Back to
Thank
you, Toastmaster
Thank
Dottie.
you.
Thank you, Toastmaster Sedi, and congratulations, Toastmaster Dan. Indeed, our two speakers this evening gave us insights, and it is very apt to what we are experiencing right now, which is the COVID and being quarantined. Toastmaster Test talked about fighting it. Toastmaster Dan was talking about the fear that we have as we experience this. Now this evening we also we also have our counter. Let's see how we fared with our verbal crutches. So let's listen to the evaluation of Toastmaster Juliet.
Hello, good evening once again, fellow Toastmasters. My job for tonight is to count the as repetitive words, long pause being done by each speaker. So first, I would like to congratulate Dan, Toastmaster Dan Apalina. You, like the other seniors, Toastmaster Christine, Toastmaster Renelita, you are an institution in public speaking and Toastmasters. So the speech has full of values, and I didn't hear any as, I didn't hear any repetitive words or long pause. So very good. And then the rest for Rai, I heard one repetitive word, 5 as. Mark, one repetitive, one long pause. Sedi, 4 repetitive words. Rose, 1. Mark Castillo, he didn't have any repetitive, but he's got a lot of us, 12. Tess, 1 repetitive, 3 as, 1 long pause. John, 2 repetitive words. Dottie, 3 as. Mar, I think he has improved a lot because before, Mar always put a in every word he say. But now he only rendered 6 as G as general evaluator. And lastly, Armel got 2 repetitive and 1 as. That's our counter report for tonight. Thank you.
Thank you.
Toastmaster.
Thank you, Toastmaster Juliet. I got several as. I think I still do not belong to that institution. I wouldn't say, well, seasoned. Okay, that's the word I'm looking for. The seasoned Toastmasters are more careful. Maybe it has become second nature for them not to use as, to use verbal crutches. And that is how we know that Toastmasters works. This evening, I felt that your meeting is so much better than our meeting if I am to compare because of the connectivity. You have better connection to the internet. That's why none of you are cutting off. I did not hear anybody who spoke with that is not really very clear, unlike what we have experienced just a few hours ago in our meeting. So congratulations, you have better internet connections. And if we are to evaluate a face-to-face meeting, the usual evaluation would be how we have set up the place, how we are, well, everything, the environment that we do when we do face-to-face meeting. But since this is an online meeting, I would like to comment on how everybody looked on my screen, because it's different and it doesn't look good if anybody of us here is dark or the lighting is not right. So maybe the proper evaluation would be, instead of talking about the environment, instead of talking about how we prepare the room, I think it would be best to say that everybody's lighting is very nice. I can see all your beautiful faces and handsome faces. Thank you for that. This is one of the things that we can work on and improve on our audios and the lightings and the positions of our camera. And looking at it this evening, I think we are doing very well. I also would like to commend everybody. I felt that everybody's very comfortable with their gadgets. Everybody's comfortable, and I think we are adapting to our new norm, which is doing things online. Now, finally, let's do our timekeepers report. Time's up. So it's time to have the timekeepers report to be given by Toastmaster Rose.
Hello, everyone.
No.
Hi.
Evening.
Good evening. Yes, they
Evening.
say time.
Evening.
Yes, they say time is relative. And I say time flies by like a bird. So that's my simile for you tonight. For the report, those who were kind to the clock or kind to the time are those within time. And those are Toastmaster Elisa, Toastmaster Sedi, and yes, those are for the table topics part. The other people who are the other people who are kind to the clock are Toastmaster John for your table topics evaluation, and Toastmaster Mar and Juliet for the evaluation as well. Those who were able to beat the clock, these are the people who went into the red but made it on time within the 30 seconds. Toastmaster Mar Castillo, Toastmaster Oh, sorry. Yes, I muted myself, I think, because of the dogs. Sorry. So those who were in the red mark, but within the 30-second grace period, Toastmaster Mark Castillo, Armel, and Zedi. And those who killed the clock, sorry, Toastmaster Dan, you're over time. Your speech has been allotted 10 to 12 minutes, but you have spent 17 minutes and 11 seconds. So I think that is all for tonight. I hope we can continue being on time. It is a challenge with the technical limitations that we have. So I suggest for the next timer, have a paper. You can pin the video timer. I've also changed my name to Rose-Timer. And it's a multitasking thing that you can chat with everyone while timing and doing the cards as well. So good luck to the next timer. I hope you can practice to doing the timing with the chat and the cards. Toastmaster, General Evaluator, I turn the control back to you.
Thank you very much, Toastmaster Rose. Yes, you are very comfortable online, I would say, because you did the timing with the cards. You also did the chat, which confused me at first, but it's a good idea because you were not pinned. And yes, that is also one way for us to be able to know who does a certain assignment. When we change our name to our role, like what Toastmaster Rose did. That's very commendable, Toastmaster Rose. Change your name to your role so that maybe the Toastmaster of the evening or the general evaluator would be able to identify who are doing what. So, congratulations. Now, I would like to evaluate the Toastmaster of the evening, Toastmaster Ryan. Toastmaster Ryan, you did very well in moving the meeting forward. When you started it, I know that you were prepared. You were very comfortable. You were confident as you spoke to everybody. There is just one thing that I would like to maybe suggest for you to be able to do the toast mastering better. At the start of the meeting, you were quite unsure of the people who are doing their roles. You were trying to ask who is doing this, who is doing that. In the future, maybe you can start asking when you log in, you can start asking for the roles, and if that person is online, you can start looking at the list of attendees if everybody's in, so that in the future you will be able to just move on and go ahead with the meeting. So that, I think, our Toastmaster for the evening deserves a round of applause.
Thank you.
Now, our theme this evening is Time's Up. Let me just share with you. My sister is a doctor here in Davao, and she heads the pediatric department of our only COVID hospital. So every morning, well, not really every morning, most of the day, I am privy to the things that is happening inside the hospital, mostly what is happening in her department. And I noticed that there are so many doctors, including the doctors there in Manila. She is also privy to what's happening. And whenever I hear that there is another doctor that succumbed to the virus, it saddens me. It also affects me because that should not be happening. So whenever I hear this, every day I hear this, it makes me think. It makes us think and wonder, what if my time is up? So your theme this evening is also very apt because when your time is up, will you be happy to pass your paper? Think about that. Good evening. Back to our president.
Oh, thank you, Toastmaster Doti, and thank you, evaluators, for sharing your thoughts and constructive ideas. A Toastmaster meeting is never complete without everyone speaking. So may I call on Toastmaster Marinor to give us your thoughts about our Sparkle question of the night. Our Sparkle question for the evening is, how do you differentiate being busy and productive?
Okay, hi. Good evening, fellow Toastmasters and guests, friends from Davao. Hello.
Evening.
How can I differentiate being productive and
busy.
busy? Yes. First, I guess busy. For being a busy person, you're just doing something, but it doesn't necessarily mean that you are productive, that you are giving results, right? You may not be that very busy, but you can be very productive. For example, in one instance, just today, I am quite productive today because I have done a lot of things, paperworks, and I'm active at our store. and I have done, maybe, should I say, something good to others. And I have done something for myself, for my family, and for some friends. So I guess that's being productive. Being busy, I'm always busy. You can find me anywhere and everywhere, especially when we are not yet on quarantine. But it doesn't make me productive. Most of the time, some most of the tasks are unfinished. So that's my differentiation of being productive and business. Good evening, fellow Toastmasters.
And may I call Toastmaster Mark Ramos to give your thoughts about our sparkle question of the evening. How do you differentiate being busy and productive?
Hello, Toastmasters and guests. Good evening. Uh, Thank you for the opportunity. Thank you for inviting me to join this online meeting. It's actually the first online meeting I have joined since I came back. Here, so it's a really good opportunity to reconnect with friends, reconnect with Toastmasters. Thank you for that. So, how do I differentiate between what? How do I different? How do I differentiate between spending my time and using my time productively? Is that the question? I guess it depends on. For me, it's quite a difficult question to answer because it depends on one's priorities in life. Depends on one's purpose. Like for instance, what will be productive use of my time would not be considered so by another person simply because I have different goals in life compared to another person. Um, as for me, I have a family here in New Zealand. I love them very much. I have a job that I really enjoy doing. So for me, the productive use of my time is being able to do meaningful work, being able to contribute to the objectives of my employer, and at the same time, uh, being able to spend and invest time growing what matters in my life, which is my family, making sure that my son is growing very well. He's make sure that he's learning in school. Make sure that I have time for my wife, who I love very much, because a happy wife leads to a happy life, and making sure that my baby grows up with the ability to take advantage of whatever opportunities there is in life. So for me, it depends. It depends on the person. But so long as you are doing something that is in line with your purpose in life, then you're spending your time productively. Thank you, Mr. Chair.
Right. So now let's proceed to Toastmaster, our very own champion evaluator, Toastmaster Ruben.
Hi, good evening, everyone. I just want to give my 2 cents on the topic. The difference, I think, is whether or not that person directs his actions to something that's positive and purposeful. And I'd like to put that into context by mentioning some things that people are doing nowadays in response to the COVID-19 scare. A lot of people now, instead of helping other people, what they do is when they hear of somebody, that somebody just happens to be either a health worker, a frontliner, a PUM or PUI, what they do is they throw acid at these people, shoot them with guns, kick them out of the apartment, prevent them from coming back to their homes, firing them from their jobs. These are acts of discrimination, which a lot of people are apparently being busy with right now. This is wrong. And that is why the Department of Health Secretary has publicly denounced this discriminatory acts, and city governments like Manila, Cebu have passed ordinances against it. I understand, of course, that this happened because people are scared. But see, fear does not excuse anyone from committing crimes, anything illegal, from committing any discriminatory acts against others. When we ask ourselves, and we have to ask ourselves, since the government is already doing something about it, what do we do? Do we just busy ourselves, with we were supposed to do. We should be productive, and productive, that means helping each other out, because that's the only you're going to survive this thing. Think about it. If you're having, if you still feel like this scare is abstract because it doesn't, you're asymptomatic and that hasn't affected you that directly, think about how you may very well become a victim yourself. Because with the way this virus has spread globally, it seems likely that those who are asymptomatic are already carrying the virus and are spreading it around. So do you want people to hurt you for fear that you might be a carrier? No. Then I suggest that you respond to fear as Toastmasters should when handling table topics, for instance. When we're called to table topics, although we don't like being called, we pray we don't get called, but the inevitable happens and you get called. When you get called, what you should do is to be calm, to be reasonable, and be guided by the golden rule. Don't do to others what you don't want others to do unto you. And just two more things, Toastmaster Rai. So the city governments of Manila and Cebu and others already drafting their own. But Meycauayan doesn't have one. I'm already bothering and nagging the city government to pass its own ordinance. And I hope everyone else in their own municipalities or cities could do the same. Because we have to help the doctors, the nurses, and protect the PUIs and PUMs as well. Please do call your city governments to pass an ordinance soon. And lastly, if at any point, hopefully not, if at any point you find yourself as somebody needing legal assistance because you just happen to be a victim of this discrimination, or you know somebody who is, please reach out to Volunteer Lawyers Against Discrimination. They have a Facebook page. And if ever I get assigned to your case, then I help you out. Thank you, Toastmaster Roy.
Thank you for your wonderful input, Toastmaster Ruben. Now let's give also another speaking opportunity once again to Toastmaster Malu Cruz. Toastmaster Malu, give us your thoughts about our Sparkle question. I repeat, how do you differentiate being busy and productive?
Well, being busy is doing something. We are always busy. Sometimes we feel that 24 hours is not even enough to finish everything because we do so many things. But what is important right now, what we should bear in mind is that if we want, if our time is up, with or without output, we cannot do anything anymore if our time is up. Thank you.
All right, so now let's proceed to Toastmaster Lit. Give us your thoughts. Again, I repeat, how do you differentiate being busy and productive? Toastmaster Lit.
Hello.
Hi.
Hello. Do you hear me?
We can all hear
Yes,
you,
yes.
Tita.
Okay.
Yes.
Okay, I'll proceed. Okay. Anybody can be busy without being productive. So if you want to really become a busy person, then you should have a purpose. Because if you're just being busy, just like what millennials would always say, busy, busyhan. And that's really not productive. So we want to be productive because we want our lives to be significant. So I believe that's the big difference between just being busy and being productive. If you're just being busy without a purpose, then you are not being significant. But if you have a purpose, you want to be productive, then you become relevant and you become significant. So let's be significant and relevant. Good evening.
Thank you, Toastmaster Lit. So for the benefit of our guest, our Sparkle question is given so that everyone will have their opportunity to speak. And last but not the least, our distinguished Toastmaster Christine. Your thoughts about our Sparkle question of the night. Your audio, please. Your audio is muted. Yeah.
Okay. Good evening to everyone from within the Philippines and outside the Philippines. Okay. Well, busy and productive. I think all of us are always busy doing this, doing that, but not necessarily being productive. Once I remember the time when I entered the office of a chairman of a global company, and I said, there's nothing on his table. It's clean, but he couldn't be president or chairman for nothing because he leads the company to success. And so I wondered, and I realized later that maybe I should be I should be doing something as also an entrepreneur or a businessman. I could be busy doing the menial things and things that probably are not related to decision making. But I think having nothing on your table means that you are thinking big, you're thinking of how to achieve a bigger goal and setting directions for the company. Those are things that matter and those are things that are productive because the busyness could be delegated to your staff and to the other people in the company. So I think being productive means that you are achieving your purpose, you are achieving the goals and objectives that you have set upon yourself. But that means also getting busy in another way. So busyness and productivity are different things. Good evening.
Thank you, Toastmaster Christine. And now let's proceed to our guest, Mr. Future Toastmaster Dennis Delira. He's just one ride away from our meeting place, so he is a possible member of Toastmaster, Meycauayan Toastmaster. Dennis, can you
He can just give a feedback on overall of the meeting. He doesn't really have to answer. If he wants to, it's fine.
All right, Dennis, are you on? All right, I think, all right. Dennis, can you give your feedback about the meeting? All right, I think he is not ready. His audio, okay, he cannot open his audio. Anyway, let's proceed. So, as I conclude this meeting, if you can still recall, when I started the program, that time is relative. As we experienced the lockdown and gave us more time to stay at home, I can say that our time are our relatives. Indeed, our current experience gave us an opportunity to spend more time with our family, with our loved ones. Now that many people need the support of one another, may we share our time to lift up the spirit and inspire each other to look at our current circumstances as an opportunity to make ourselves and our resources available to those who need it most. Gone are the days of me, myself, and I. This is the time for us, we, and ours. And our team for tonight says, time's up. I now return the control to our president.